Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Lechtech Musar podcast. We continue with the Pele Yoeitz. We are on page 257 of the Art Scroll, day 89 of Hachzik. And now we're going to continue discussing the Idin of Chasan. Yesterday we spoke about how it's an auspicious occasion and how Hashem is being Misamaiach and there's joy and Simcha and Shemayim, and the concept of Chasan Doim el Melech Umasinu Gedoyle Olam Hashem Mirakdim Lifnei Akala. We find that there were Gedolim, sages, who would dance before the Kala to bring her great joy on the day of Chasana. Lefi Shalei Haya B'hem Yetzirah. But this was only because they were on a lofty level, which was fear of the Yetzirah, and they didn't need to worry that they would come to sin while performing the mitzvah. Even b'shas misa we can't be together. So for sure at the time of a simcha, if there's dancing between men and ladies, then we'll come to churba, chas v'shalom v'simcha, l'tuga, yehafe, chas v'shalom, chasan yeshiv ben anashim, v'akala ben anashim, bal yiro, elu, im, elu. The chasan sits on his side of the mechitza, the kala on their side of the mechitza, shtika kasha. I don't have an answer because ketzah maraktim, but the men are dancing in front of the kala. I guess that's what that was the minhag that was brought down. So these days, we do dance, the men in front of the ladies, but for a short period of time. I guess the minhagim have changed, but it's always good to know the ideals and know the real bare bones, the salt of the earth, what Hashem really wants things to look like. And despite the fact that times have changed, and maybe the minhagim have changed, because certainly we have rebbes, and especially by the Hasidim, there's a mitzvah tans, and by every chasna, even by the yeshivisha, there's a ketzah maraktim. So times have changed, but I guess the answer is that we're amich kulam sadikim, and we're like the sages of yesteryear, and there's no chashash even of any sort of avera, of any sort of hirhur. Okay. Now we're going to learn that it's amazing. Pele Yoeitz, every aspect of life he goes through, and now we're going to touch on the fact that while one is being Misamaiach the Chasan v'Kala, that if one performs this mitzvah properly, he gets schar. So many yeshivas, right? You can't go out for a chasana. You have a friend's chasana. You have sometimes even a cousin's chasana. Like night seder, where are you going? But maybe for the bachrim, they shouldn't learn this piece. If you're listening and you're a bacher, don't take this to the bank because Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. But it's important to understand that when we do this right, when we Misamaiach and we have the right intentions, and we're being Misamaiach with the Eibishter, Hashem Himself Kaviyachol is being Sasim v'Simcha, and Hashem is happy, and Misamaiach, Hashem is being V'hu ba'atzmoi, Hashem Kaviyachol Himself is Misamaiach, HaChasan Im HaKala, Hashem is there. So we'll see that when you have in mind the proper intent, that you can really cash in. V'amru ali zevel kishekish achu oisa klavim le'shaltu b'reisha v'yedeh v'agla v'yish ha'oisa yetzis v'kaskal merkedes v'metapechas lefaneh. We learn, it's a medrash, that the wicked Izevel, who is the wife of Achav, and he did a lot of averis, that when she was ultimately punished and she was eaten by dogs, they didn't have the authority to consume her head. Why? Not only her head, but the palms of her hands and her feet. And the reason was because it was the schos of her dancing, mirakid. Her hands were there, the palm of her feet, and she would hold other people's hands. So even though she was a rasha, and she was terribly punished, but the dogs couldn't consume her head, her hands, and her feet. Why? Because she used to go out and greet the brides and dance and clap for them. Every person should be a little lax with his honor for the sake of Shemayim. We see this special, unique opportunity, dancing with the Chasan and Kala, that it even saved Izevel, the wife of Achav, was a tremendous sinner and was consumed by dogs, but the schus of her dancing and greeting and clapping for the Kala, that saved her.